Sorry about that, everyone. Brief interruption there. I'd left off on The Incredibles and now what I believe is an overcorrection from the other side of just being totally insulted by, I hate to say it, far left leaning media and people. Just an overcorrection of just seeing conspiracies everywhere. Um, and again, I would rather judge something on its merits. Trust me, if when I see The Incredibles 2, if I think that they're pushing like Mr. Incredible into the background for the sake um, raising Elastigirl up to the stratosphere, I'll call it out and I'll say it. But I just don't think that's going to be the case here. Not from what I've seen and not from what I have heard. I'm again, right now it's such a it's such a cultural war right now because you got one side, you've got man babies, misogynist, sexist, racist coming in. I've got that coming in my left ear, and I've got SJW, cuck. What else? Beta male, soy boys. I've got that coming in the right ear, and it's just not. None of it's constructive. It's just you know, both sides are ridiculous at this point. And even though I am identifying on the side of the resistance right now, as far as just wanting better Star Wars, wanting Lucasfilm to do a serious course correction, you know, I'm kind of tired of both ends of it right now cuz again, none of it's constructive. Everything is just a bunch of insults. And why? It doesn't need to be this way. And maybe this is Pollyanna-ish on my part. It probably is. But we don't need any of this on either side. You know, everybody can have an opinion, but we need to respect each other's opinions. Seriously. Well, we let me say this: we need to respect each other's legit opinions, because I, because true racists and misogynists, I don't consider them having an opinion. To be honest with you, and you can call me whatever for that, but that's just how I feel about that. But anyone who comes with a legitimate argument, let's have a conversation. Stop labeling the other side. Really. Um, but again, you know, when you got when you've got Brie Larson, the future Captain Marvel here, or as she's known in many circles now, Captain SJW. I'm getting so tired of that term. When you've got her spouting off about needing to have more diversity among critics, again, in principle, I don't disagree with you, Bree. But your other statement about a white male not being able to understand the nuances of A Wrinkle in Time. Well, you know what? I watched A Wrinkle in Time recently, and guess what? I was bored out of my mind. But hey, maybe that was because I was a male. Okay, even though I'm not a white male, maybe it's because I was a male. Okay, so the friend that I watched that movie with is actually a female of color. She wasn't too thrilled about that movie either. Maybe Bree, it was just a bad movie. Maybe people just weren't digging the 20-foot Oprah Winfrey in that movie, because I know I wasn't. And you know what? The Rotten Tomatoes audience score. Look at that. I mean, it's lower than the critics' score, and the critics' score wasn't that good. So, were they all white males who reviewed Wrinkle in Time, even on the audience side, who gave their opinion on of it? It was just a bad movie. It happens. It happens all the time. And then again, we got Mindy Kaling now weighing in on Ocean's 8. As far as white as far as white males maybe who maybe don't get it. It's Mindy, for the movie, the most of the reviews I've read, they have no problem with the cast. Most reviews have no problems with the cast. Okay, they like you guys. They just say that you're in a weak ass story. So again, it's not a case. It's not fully a case of not appreciating female leads in movies or appreciating movies that have a predominantly female cast. Just make a good movie. I mean, it's just that simple. I maybe I am oversimplifying this, but it's just it's just ridiculous how that side of the spectrum just keeps doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on nonsense. And you're not really touching on the true problem. You know, pop culture right now, I mean, we are in a golden age. I'm not going to tell you my age, but I grew up in an era where I loved geeky things. Loved Star Wars, loved superheroes. But I really had to hide that part of myself growing up, going through school, because it just wasn't cool. You got labeled a certain way if it was found out you were really into that stuff. So you had to pretty much keep it to yourself, or maybe you had one or two good friends who you could be geeky with. I grew up in that era where you couldn't you couldn't let that side of yourself show. You couldn't let your freak flag fly, so to speak. But now you're in an era where geek is chic. It's cool. It's nothing. It's nothing to see what many would consider a drop dead gorgeous woman walking down the street now wearing a Captain America shirt or a Spider Man hoodie. That's not weird anymore. And I love it. And I want it to continue. But you know what? It's not going to continue as long as we're at war. And we shouldn't be at war on this stuff because this stuff should be fun. Should be fun for everyone. We shouldn't be wanting to check boxes, as far as diversity, because that leads to tokenism. That's not diversity. We should want diversity, but not forced diversity. Maybe if I that's a better way of saying it. Cause okay, let me give you another example here, as far as just how askew this side of the argument is. You know, Finn, John Boyega, in the new Star Wars trilogy. Yeah, Star Wars, they've got in this new trilogy and amongst these new characters, yep, they got their black dude. But let's examine that for a minute. Back in 1980, when Lando Calrissian was was introduced in Empire Strikes Back, when he was introduced to us, what was he? He was the administrator of Cloud City. He ran a lucrative mining operation until Vader came along. But but he was basically a successful businessman. Okay, then let's go to 1999, The Phantom Menace, when we are introduced to Mace Windu. What is Mace Windu? He is a Jedi Master. He is the co-leader, along with Master Yoda, of the Jedi Order. Very prominent, important position. So, right there, you've got your diversity. You've got black people in very prominent roles, very important roles. So now we come a couple years ago to 2015 to The Force Awakens.